Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to Perafilozof City Skylines videos. You will remember that in the previous episode I had almost filled up this entire area here. Only some industry needs to finish filling up these areas on the edges, and I also have some extra industry here developing so that I would have enough goods for all my commercial areas. My commercial areas almost ended up using all of my goods. I started importing at one point, so I switched over this area to industry so that I would have enough goods, and I am also exporting some. I did a triple line of industry here to make sure that I would definitely have enough goods for my commercial sector. Now this will mean that a lot of traffic will be here in these streets, but hopefully it won't create any bottlenecks. Now on to the remainder of building up this area here. Across the street from this area I am starting to build up a new one, but there is a mix of styles between this and this, well, designs more than styles. So what I need to do is check out how this one was made and then copy it over to this one over here, because I don't want to continue the way I built up this one. So in order to have the same design, I have to use some of these streets as cross streets to be highways, and then to have ramps going from one side to the other, which means that, for example, over here, if I have a street here, the next one would be a ramp that would be taking the traffic from, let's see, if it goes down, it would be taking the traffic from here into here. So instead of this road here being a street, I would disconnect about here, the entire length of it, and then switch it for a highway. Now what I need to do is to have the zones. Now the problem here is that you cannot zone onto a highway ramp. As you can see here, it does not create any zonable squares. In order to fix this problem, I need to have these streets go very close to each other so that I could actually zone and then have a ramp, which means that the zone would be going like this and the ramp would be in between these two, which means that a lot of these will need to be remade in order for this to work. So my first street on which I'll be zoning will be actually going through here, like this, and ending in here. Although this corner here should be used for an actual power plant and some incinerator plants, so I need to rethink on how this corner here would look like. The incineration plants could be, if the roads go from left to right, they could be here. So like this the road would go, and the two incineration plants would be right here, like this. They will be turned off for now, and then over here would be the solar power plant, connected like this, which means the first street that would actually be connected could be this one through here, and the next one would have a connection through here like this. Now this did leave a little bit of room here, and I would like to use it all up, so use the street going like this in order to fix this. There we go. Now if this is a solar power plant, I will turn it off for now, because the power rating can be connected through these zones or through these buildings themselves. It does not have to be online. Now if this is going to be a street, this one is not going to be a street, but there is going to be a ramp here that is going to be taking the traffic from here to here. But as you can see, the first connection comes off from here. So in order to use it up, I would actually have to redo this thing once more, because well, actually there should be a street here, so we'll leave it like that. Place a street here, and then the ramp will go somewhere about here, going through here. So let me just delete this and see where exactly would the ramp be going through. I believe it would have to go through here, so I would go like this and then go at 90 degrees up to about here, and then I should be able to go into this street from here. There. Now we need the ramp to actually go down to here, so we go backwards like so, about here I think, and then the ramp comes off from here down here. The street is now in the way, but I think that can be worked around somehow. Yep, like this. If I take the ramp to be here, should have taken the curve tool actually. Although this does not seem to be helping. Oh, there we go. That's what I've been trying to get. And now if I go just a little bit backwards, I can connect straight into it. And there we go. Highway off ramp, highway ramp, and highway on ramp. And after this, I just need this street, the next one, to be close enough so that it can be zoned on. Now this is again going to cost me money. It's gonna tear down some of these highways and the train tracks in order to get the streets through here, but that's what happens when you are building cities. You can't always know perfectly how it's gonna look like before you actually make it. So this would go probably about here, and then this one would be disconnected for these two to gain a connection in between each other. There we go. And now from here I just go over here. Of course, like I said, now I'm gonna be hitting pillars once again. This is gonna be a little bit problematic. I'm trying to have them go straight. I could try curving these streets, but I would rather have them go straight. So that would be the next street. Now the question is, how many times do I need the ramps? For example, over here I went with a ramp every odd time, so I had a street, a ramp, a street, a ramp. Since these zones are actually created by the streets which go like this, and not the ones that go like this, I can actually get rid of this one, I think. Yeah, it takes a while to reorient myself from building like this into building like this. I had the same problem when I was building this side after building this side, and once again I am hitting the same issue, but it shouldn't be problematic for long. Okay, so this would be going up from here. Maybe I should delete some of this. No, I don't think it's necessary. This one is the one I need to delete actually. And then let's see how much space would that require. So going from here to okay, there we go, and then going up from here. The next one would be going from here into the highway ramp, and so on and so forth. Alright, so I'm happy with how this looks like. I have drawn this highway ramp here. I haven't drawn any more because I want to be zoning and then seeing where a 4x4 zone ends, and then add a ramp or a street at that point. I have kept the connections here to this part of the city, and I have also drawn more connections below these highways to connect to the oldest part of the city. So now all I have to do is let the game run and start zoning in these areas. But before I do actually start zoning, I also need to take a look at these bus stops and these streets and how everything is connected through here. There seem to be some bus stops that seem to be trying to find a way to turn around in here, and therefore it would be easiest... Oh, this settled out on its own. Okay, no need to change anything then. The bus stops from over here are coming all the way into this part of the city because that's the first place they can turn. In order to fix that, I need to give them a connection in between here so that they have a place to turn instead of going into that part of the city. This could prove problematic because I have to go underneath. So now that should fix, and the buses have a way to turn around. They do not have to go all the way there. I mean, I could have gotten rid of the turning around if the bus stops were not in these positions, but I do need some bus stops to be all the way to the end and closer to these buildings. So let's take a look what would happen if I were to move them. Yeah, the bus line would still need to turn around here, as it seems to be doubling on itself at this point. There isn't a stop here, and there shouldn't be. Yeah, they will still need a way to turn around. So this pretty much fixes this problem. You can see the same thing going on to here, because the bus stops are here before there's after an intersection. They do actually have to find an intersection in order to turn around, or they can just turn around on the end of the streets itself. So that would be it for the buses. For the metros, I will connect these two systems once they come into play in here. As for the services themselves, I was running low on health services, so this is the spot where I will get the clinic. And also where I will be getting a crematorium. As for the fire services, there should be a fire station right here in the middle. Also probably a police headquarters. Then an elementary school. A high school, no doubt, might not be necessary for the coverage, but it is necessary for the actual capacity. And also I will need a university. Now the question is, where exactly should I place it? I think somewhere in the middle would be the better choice. I think it needs a lot of space, so it would go like this. Or perhaps it would be better to place it going from down to up, as it would follow the actual zones and these buildings. So yeah, that would probably be the better idea, as I do zone onto these streets going from down to up and not left and right. Okay, so what would be the zones here? Well, right here next to the highway, I guess it would be industrial, as that would be creating pollution and needs to be kept away from everything else. After that, I will have a line of offices, also 4x4. And after that, it is possible to get more commercial. 1 and 2 lines. Now you see why I didn't want to make any more ramps, because now it turns out that a residential area needs to go here. It could start getting problems, and therefore I need to keep it away from all the pollution that's going on here. I could take a look at the garbage capacity. I do have more, and if this area here is going to be expanding, I might as well turn off one of these here in the corner and actually turn on one of these. That should do the trick. So now as this starts expanding, I think I have every level of education covered. The metro stops are something that I will look as I develop more, although I think I can already have the first metro stop right here before this intersection. There we go. Now I'm thinking whether or not 1 or 2 would be necessary here, so 1 to go here, 1 to go here, or would it be okay to have just 1 in the middle? The size of this area isn't very big. I had only 1 here in the middle in this area, so I will follow the same system and only have 1 in the middle. So that would be the metro. These are the residential areas. This also needs to become a district. One that will have reduced tax rate for residential, so that they will be more likely to move in. So tax relief for residential, big business manufacturer, pet ban to reduce the amount of garbage accumulated, and parks and recreation to increase the land value. So here we go, already a building managed to build up. Excellent. So how many residential areas? Well, about 4, I believe. I think I made less in these areas, about 3, and that led to the land value not being very high, because there weren't enough of these buildings to intersect their effect. So I think it's better to have 4x4 zones of residential, as I have done in these areas over here, and you can see that there is much better land value here. So this will be 4x4 residential, and perfectly not gonna be perfect. I was hoping it would, but not for commercial areas. Now I could move the street itself, this one spot to the left side. It wouldn't be too much of a problem. This connection can easily be moved. So I think for the sake of being a perfectionist, I will do this. So this street would be going through here. Oh, should have enabled snapping. And then the connection here to this other street isn't really important because it's gonna be below the highway, and that should not produce any problems no matter how it is turned. So why do I have this empty one single spot in every one of these locations? It has to have something to do with the street. Let's see, bulldoze it and then redo it. It's gonna be zonable. Yeah. Oh, so I just hadn't zoned them? Or maybe the streets removed the zoning when I was rebuilding. Could be. In any event, that would be one 4x4 commercial zone, and then after that would be the next one. Also 4x4. Here we would have more. Here we would have more residential. No problems, although just not on the intersection itself. Okay, that wouldn't work. That would be 4x4. Some more residential areas here. No problems. Oh, that would pretty much be working nicely. Oh, what's this? No water coverage? Am I really reaching my capacity? No, that should not be the case. So not enough water? Oh, this line is actually not connected. I think I missed it by a centimeter. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this line was actually empty of water because it wasn't connected to the network. Yeah, there we go. That fixes that issue. Now the parks. I am thinking again of building the massive ones plus some of the smaller ones. So one would already be going here, and in its intersection with the other ones it should have pretty good coverage, but of course it will need some support from the other parks. For example, one will probably need to go somewhere around here, over here, and one will be going over here to the side as well. Should provide good coverage if placed here without creating any issues once these zones actually reach it and it gains power. So this looks fine. Maybe a little bit of tuning for the edges. Okay, and then like this, like this. Now, if I wish for this industry to have a way to export and import more easily, I could already turn on one of the cargo train stations that I have above this area over here. But in order to turn it on, I would need to actually connect some streets to it and fix this two-way that's here. Well, let's see what is the level of this industry. It is only level 1, but some are actually at level 2, gaining almost level 3. So I will turn it on once I actually get close enough to it. The metro also needs some lines. This is a station, but it needs lines as well. Now, because this is a new part of the city, I will start a new line here that's for now gonna be connected to the already made stations in the other parts of the city, but later on it's going to have its own line specially designed for this part of the city. So this would end here, and for now this would be the only line. Later on I will extend it. It's going to be one local, and then there are going to be lines connecting these other parts to this one. So what do I have here? Commercial, which means the next one is offices. 4x4. 4. Alright, that's good. And then goes again industry. 4x4 would be going like this. I'm not very happy how it's gonna end up in the intersection here. No way to solve this actually. What's with the leveling? Wow. Yeah, not gonna be happy with there being a building there, so disown that. Oh right, they are leveling because I think power finally reached these buildings and then they got the full effect, so they are now leveling up because of that. Right, that was the reason. So now that this area is finally getting expanded and even residents are moving in, population is at around 190,000. Unemployment 3%, plenty of open jobs, seniors at 26%, so the death rate is a bit higher than the birth rate. As I said, I won't be turning on that cargo train station until I reach it, although you can see that I'm already getting level 3 industry, so that should not be problematic at all to upgrade it very quickly even without it. But it will upgrade better with it, so as soon as I can get there I will turn it on. Well, this is pretty much everything I had planned to do in this episode. Thank you all for watching and please stay tuned for more.